Ghostly tales, yet mirrors of human life. Hey everyone! Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Ghostly Tales from Zhai. Today, I'm going to tell you two short stories. The first story is titled, Raising Snakes. In the mountains of Sisui County in Shandong, there once stood a temple surrounded by no villages. The area was rarely visited, and only one monk lived in the temple. It was rumored that many large snakes inhabited the temple, so travelers would avoid it from afar. One day, a young man went into the mountains to hunt eagles and reached deep into the forest. As evening approached and he had no place to stay, he spotted the temple from a distance and decided to seek lodging there. The monk, upon seeing the young man, was surprised and said, "Where did you come from? It's a good thing the children didn't see you." The monk invited the young man to sit down and served him some porridge. Before the young man could finish eating, a giant snake entered the temple. The snake was thick, around 60 to 70 inches, and had an angry gaze like lightning. The young man was terrified, but the monk calmly tapped the snake on the forehead and scolded it, saying, "Go away, go away." The snake lowered its head and slithered into the eastern room. However, the snake was so long that it took some time for its body to disappear. Once the snake had fully coiled up in the room, it filled the entire space. The young man was petrified and shivered in fear. The monk reassured him. "This snake is one I keep. As long as I am here, you need not worry. What concerns me is if you were to meet it alone." As soon as the young man sat down again, another snake came in. This one was slightly smaller, about 25 to 30 inches thick. The snake stopped upon seeing the guest, flickering its tongue and staring with the same angry look as the previous one. The monk scolded this snake as well, and it too slithered into the room. With no space left to rest, the snake coiled half of its body around a beam, causing dirt to fall from the walls with a rustling sound. The young man grew even more terrified and could not sleep the entire night. Early the next morning, the young man wanted to leave and return home. The monk accompanied him. As they stepped outside, the walls and steps were covered with snakes of various sizes, ranging in thickness from that of a cup to that of a bowl. These snakes either crawled or lay coiled, each one making threatening gestures as if to devour the intruders. The young man was terrified and could only walk close to the monk for protection. Only when the monk had escorted him all the way to the mouth of the valley did he dare to head home alone. In my hometown, there is also a story about a man who once lived in Hunan. He stayed at a temple called Snake Buddha Temple. The monks there prepared dinner for him, but to his surprise, they served him a delicious meat soup, even though monks are supposed to eat vegetarian food. The meat chunks in the soup were oddly shaped, all in round segments, resembling chicken necks. The man was puzzled and asked the monks, "How many chickens did you kill to have so many chicken necks for the soup?" One monk replied, "These are not chicken necks, they are snake segments." Shocked, the man ran outside and vomited uncontrollably. That night, after the man went to bed, he felt something wriggling on his chest. When he touched it, he discovered it was a snake, which scared him so much that he jumped up and cried for help. The monks came to the guest room and said, "This is a common occurrence here. There's no need to be so alarmed." Then the monks used fire to illuminate the walls, revealing that they were covered with snakes of all sizes, even underneath the man's bed. The next day, the monks took the man to the Buddha hall. He noticed a large well under the Buddha's seat, and in the well, there was a snake as thick as a big jar, trying but failing to climb out. The monks lit a fire and looked into the well, discovering that it was filled with countless snakes, all living in the well. The monks explained that this large snake had previously caused harm to the local people, and only after the great Buddha was built over the well did the disaster cease. The second story is titled Starving Ghost. Ma Yong was from Shandong and was known for his greed and shameless behavior. From a young age, Ma Yong's family was impoverished, and the locals often mocked him, giving him the nickname, Starving Ghost. By the time Ma Yong was in his 30s, his situation had not improved and had actually worsened. He often wore tattered clothes, and his hands were habitually crossed over his shoulders as he stole food from others at the market. Those who knew him also disliked him and did not consider him worthy of respect. There was an old man named Zhu in the county who, in his youth, lived in a bustling city with his wife and was involved in dubious occupations. In his later years, he returned to the countryside and faced criticism from the local scholars. However, old man Zhu behaved uprightly and was charitable, so over time, people began to treat him with more respect. One day, old man Zhu happened to see Ma Yong stealing food from others at the market without paying and getting scolded by the shopkeeper. Old man Zhu felt pity for him and paid for the stolen items, then took Ma Yong to his home and gave him a few hundred coins as seed money to start a small business. However, instead of using the money to make a living, Ma Yong squandered it and soon returned to his old ways. Fearing another encounter with old man Zhu, he hid in a nearby county. In the new county, Ma Yong stayed overnight at the county school. As winter set in and the weather grew cold, he took the wooden beads and the board from the statues of sages and used them as fuel for warmth. When the school official discovered this, he was naturally furious and intended to punish Ma Yong. Ma Yong knelt before the official, pleading for mercy and offering to help with tasks that could bring financial benefits. The official, pleased by the offer, decided to release him. Ma Yong, having learned that a certain scholar was wealthy, went to his home to forcibly demand money. He intentionally provoked the scholar by using harsh words to anger him. When the scholar was enraged, Ma Yong deliberately cut himself with a knife and then loudly accused the scholar of injuring him. Immediately after, he went to the school official to accuse the scholar. The school official then extorted a large sum of money from the accused to settle the matter. However, the incident soon stirred the public anger of the local scholars. They gathered and reported the case to the county magistrate. After investigating the matter, the magistrate punished Ma Yong with 40 blows of the board and put him in heavy stocks. As a result, Ma Yong died within 3 days due to his injuries. That very night after Ma Yong's death, Old Man Zhu dreamed that Ma Yong, dressed in fine clothes, came to his home. Ma Yong said to Old Man Zhu, "I failed to repay your kindness during my lifetime, so I have come today to make amends." Old Man Zhu suddenly awoke to find that his concubine had just given birth to a son. Believing the child to be the reincarnation of Ma Yong, he named him Ma-er. As Ma-er grew up, he was not particularly bright but was willing to study. By the time Ma-er was in his 20s, Old Man Zhu made every effort to ensure he could smoothly enter the county school. Later, when Ma-er went to another place for an exam and stayed in an inn, he lay in bed during the day and found that the walls were covered with old 8-legged essays he had previously studied. He carefully examined them and found a topic about the nature of dogs. Thinking it was a difficult question, he researched and memorized an essay on the topic. To his surprise, when he entered the examination hall, the exam question was exactly on that topic. Ma-er wrote down his memorized essay, which earned him top marks and qualified him for a stipend provided by the government. Until he was in his 60s, Ma-er only managed to secure a position as a teaching official in a neighboring county. After serving in this role for a few years, Ma-er had no honest friends. He would often lower his eyelids, with eyelashes over an inch long, pretending not to recognize anyone. Only when someone handed him money from their sleeve would he show a smile. Occasionally, when scholars made minor mistakes and the county officials ordered slight punishments, Ma-er would cruelly torture them, treating them like thieves. If someone wanted to report a scholar's wrongdoing, it meant an opportunity for Ma-er to receive money. Ma-er committed many such atrocities, making the scholars intolerant of him. By the time Ma-er was nearly 70, he had become obese, deaf, and visually impaired. Consequently, he often sought out remedies to darken his beard. One day, a charlatan tricked him by grinding madder roots and presenting it as a remedy. Ma-er, believing it to be true, applied it to his beard. The next morning, not only did his beard fail to darken, but it also lost many hairs, making him look like a ghostly judge from a temple statue. Infuriated and embarrassed, Ma-er wanted to capture the charlatan, but the man had already escaped during the night. Consumed by anger and frustration, Ma-er eventually died from his rage a few months later. Alright. That's all for today's ghostly tales, raising snakes, and starving ghost. If you enjoyed these stories, please give a like and subscribe. Please also encourage everyone to comment and share more. We'll see you in the next episode.